Hello there, and welcome to leadppc.com. I am going to go through another one of my articles that I wrote. This one is called Franchise PPC Advertising Strategies, and it's a bit more granular than some of the other ones that I've gone over. So we dive into things like keyword match types, landing page conversion rates, branded terms versus non-branded terms, and things like that. For those of you that don't know, I'm not sure if you're seeing this on YouTube or on leadppc.com, but if you do have any questions about franchise PPC advertising, we do consider ourselves to kind of be like the experts in the space. We've been around for 13 years. Right now it's 2023 when you're seeing this, as far as like when this video was actually shot. Um, and we've worked with over 200 franchise brands. We do consumer advertising as well as franchise development advertising, so kind of both sides. With that, we do not do any search engine optimization. We don't do PR. We're not a portal. It's strictly franchise PPC. Um, cool. So let's see. As far as like overview stuff that I get into in the article here, I kind of talk a little bit about my personal background. I used to be a chief marketing officer for a franchisor called Human Healthy Vending. Um, and learned a lot from doing that. I mean, we did a lot of tracking. We did all sorts of different advertising methods, and some stuff that we learned were really things that were really important. Were like landing pages were key. Branded terms were key. Really tracking and seeing what your cost per lead and cost per sale were. Those were all really important. And then from there, I just kind of realized there's a lot of brands out there that have needs for pay per click, and so ended up really diving in to everything franchise development related for a lot of different brands, and I'd say we learned a ton from there. One thing that I do talk about in this article is I talk about like how many leads does it typically take to acquire a new franchisee. I would say back of the envelope, it's probably somewhere between 50 to 200 leads. On the low side of things, we see about like 1 out of 200 leads, like what is it, 0.5% of the leads turning into a sale. If you're a franchise, if you're a business opportunity, and your cheap franchise, sometimes we'll see stuff as high as like 5%, so 1 out of 20. But I'd say back of the envelope consistently is probably it's going to take you 50 to 200 leads to close a deal. There's a lot of deals that get like really close to closing and then for whatever reason kind of fall through. So a lot of times your pipeline will look better than it actually is because somebody bails, somebody doesn't send that wire transfer or what have you. See, we've managed over $15 million in ads for franchisors. It's probably closer to maybe 20 million at this point, but that's all good. But this is kind of an important piece. There's a lot of sub industries. Just because you're good at franchise PPC doesn't mean that you're good at all the different niche markets that are there, because there are a lot of them. I would say like restaurant franchises, home services, education, healthcare. There's pet franchises, fitness franchises, retail. There's all sorts of different franchises out there. So as you're kind of vetting different agencies, I would get more specific and be like, hey, have you done this type of a franchise before? What did your numbers look like? They may not know the cost per sale across the board. I would say a lot of groups do not report that back. The ones that do, we have information on, but the ones that don't, we do not. Some other articles I talk about this as well, but really starting with Google is really important. And you can start on the SEO side of things. You can start on the pay-per-click side of things. It's cheaper to do it organically through like content writing, and also I feel like it helps you know your audience better. But there's a lot of tricks with like how you convert traffic on an organic site is very different from how you convert it on a pay-per-click site. Like for this right here, you'll see that our call to action is something like need more leads, click here, phone number, contact us. But when you're doing paid traffic, like you don't have to have all this navigation up there. Our paid traffic landing pages look way different than what our organic stuff is because you have to have content for organic stuff, but it's the opposite with paid traffic. and our landing pages look nothing like kind of what this site looks right here because it's different industry, blah blah blah. But anyway, I would say start with Google first. Match types are important. They're becoming less important. Just be careful that as much as you can, try not to open up Pandora's box with putting no match types, period. That's what Google's trying to do is sell all of their empty inventory. So like the more like exact match stuff, which is what you'll see here, pizza franchise like this, that's great. Broad match modifiers, these are kind of starting to get removed a little bit, but we still see them work some. But you don't want to just be like pizza franchise. You want to have exact phrase or broad match modifier if you can. Um, as far as what you should bid on your keywords, I get a little specific here, and granted, there's been some inflation, but you want your bids to be, somewhere between $4 and $12. Um, you just have to be really careful with overbidding for stuff because bid pumping doesn't always get you the results that you want, and then you're overpaying for clicks. So you want to get, high quality clicks at a good price. It's like any type of like negotiation or bidding type of a situation. Landing page conversion rates are important. In here, I talk about 5 to 20%. I'd say that's a good rule of thumb. The further somebody gets, if you're using kind of stack landing pages like step 1, step 2, maybe step 1's asking for email only, step 2, name, phone number, zip code, net worth, your conversion rates are going to get higher as you start people going through that funnel because they're just going through that kind of overall process. But back of the envelope, you want like around 1 out of every 5 to 20 clicks to turn into a lead. And I did go back and check that when I wrote this article. Cost per lead, a good range for Google, $20 to $60. If you're over, I would say, $100 to $150, you're kind of getting into a danger zone. Facebook does tend to be quite a bit cheaper. Our average cost per lead all time across all of our brands is about $32 a lead. Facebook does help that out some. Branded terms, I would advertise on branded terms if you're not ranked for the number one. Like if you're not ranked for your brand number one, you may want to consider it if other people are advertising on that because you definitely want to show up first. The opposite of branded terms is competitor terms, so advertising on other competitors' terms. One thing to know about that, you can't use dynamic keyword insertion because that will go against trademarks for that brand, but you can advertise on the term. So if I were to go after the term like Subway franchise, I can't say Subway franchise. I can't say Subway in the actual headline or in the description of the actual text of the ad. But you can't use dynamic keyword insertion, which would, if that's what someone typed in, replace that because it causes the same output at the end of the day. So, but you can say something like, sandwich franchise opportunity or something like that. And that's not a very good headline, but you can talk about the industry, just not about the brand, and still advertise on Subway franchise. So if you are Firehouse Subs, you could say sub sandwich franchise opportunity or whatever on the top, but not say Subway itself, even though someone typed in Subway. Facebook ads, we do recommend running both Facebook ads and Google ads. We see about as many deals come through off of Facebook as we do off of Google. We never know which one's going to work best, so we like to run both, and then if you need to slide budget from one to another, you totally can. Audience selection is really big on Facebook. Cost per lead, we do see stuff sometimes as low as $5 a lead. When you get really cheap leads like that, a lot of times you want to make sure that you're very explicit about what the cost of the franchise is in a lot more detail, because a lot of times when your lead, I would say, is under about $10 a lead, it's probably not that great of a lead. So you want to add more barriers, be more specific about how much that franchise costs, and all those types of details, so that you're not just driving a bunch of junk leads. You really want to go after investors of business opportunities, of franchises, and things like that. Initial budget wise, I would say you probably want to spend around $30 a day on Google and $20 a day on Facebook minimum. If you don't do that, it's kind of hard to drive enough leads to make a difference in track, because you're in the range of like well under 50 leads per month, and then you're not going to be closing deals in a regular fashion, and that can cause lots of problems. I have some other additional tips in here as well. Feel free to read through those. If you are interested in connecting, you can click here or contact us or call the number, but basically click there and then you can fill out the form. And right here you can actually book an appointment, probably with me. It could be with someone else, but right here, so we can talk on the phone. Hope you enjoy the video. If you have any questions about franchise PPC, would love to help. I'm more of like higher level, as we have quite a few account managers on the team. I used to do all of the nitty gritty stuff, but as the business has grown, it has different needs. But I do like to talk with all the business owners and franchise development representatives and kind of get a feel for what they're doing. Hope you enjoy the video. Talk to you soon. Bye.